It came to my attention that earlier this week, the birthday of the late Dr. Seuss was commemorated, and what better way to honor such a celebrated children's writer than to ban some of his books. Of course, book banning is by and large preferable to book burning. However, either action drags us directly into the murky waters of censorship. Now, I have long since been well aware of Dr. Seuss's wartime renderings, in which he depicted the enemy in outlandishly, and more to the point, deliberately, intentionally prejudiced caricatures. And I believe he did so in a reactionary stance owing to the sheer rage which was generated by the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, all of this constitutes an entirely different debate because the controversy today entails his children's books. Now, out of curiosity, I went upstairs to the Legacy Library to see if we happen to have any of the 6 books which I understand are due to be banned henceforth from any future publication. As it happens, we have 2. Now, I read through these books from cover to cover. I scrutinized every page. And I gotta tell you that in my judgment, it isn't my judgment to determine whether or not these should be banned. Although if it was, I gotta say that, here again, it isn't for me to say. Although if it was, we could go in circles like this all day. But lest you think me insensitive to the issue at hand, I can assure you, demonstrably so, that I am not. And there is no more sure way to demonstrate this than to share with you my own personal experience in this particular circumstance. You see, a few years ago I was reading through this, the Ideals Scrapbook. It's a nice, decent, warm and cozy hearth and home volume of sheer milquetoast Reader's Digest, white bread, Betty Crocker, wholesome Americana. Pure nostalgia. It's the stuff of Pearl S. Buck and Will Rogers and even Fred Rogers in its gentility and its docile, well-intentioned, harmless goodness. And in perusing its pages, really rather enjoying the autumnal sentiments, I turned a page and encountered a train wreck. A veritable sucker punch. It was something so awful that it would cause your heart to skip a beat. And I didn't know what to do. Take it outside and burn it? Throw it away? Write a letter to the long-dead editors? In the end, as flimsy and as flawed as this fail-safe will probably seem, I ended up writing my own frontispiece and gluing it right into the front of this book. This book is an impressive collective of wisdom, a compendium of wisdom, which is why it is all the more regrettable that I must forewarn anyone who opts to read it that, within one of its pieces, is a reference which is blatantly and even more upsetting, casually racist against black folks. I make this notation in hopes of preventing anyone from happening upon it by chance and being caught all the more off guard as I was when I encountered it amidst an otherwise heartfelt compilation. It is an ugly, jarring juxtaposition, and if possible, should not be permitted to undermine or defeat the countless other worthy and universally valid sentiments likewise recorded in this otherwise fine book. You see, boys and girls, punks and skins, parents, teachers, educators, anyone and everyone out there who is genuinely concerned about the well-being of children. I get it. I truly, honestly do get it. And this is a book for adults. In speaking of children's books, I get it. The very idea that a child, a good, decent, happy-go-lucky child, would pick up any children's book with an enticing, engaging cover, a book that promises exciting adventure and beautiful, colorful renderings in its pages, only to encounter something hurtful and painful and injurious and ugly. It's a horrible thought. And it is a legitimate concern. I get it. Ultimately, it is my hope, with regards to Dr. Seuss, that only these 6 books will encounter any question of being banned. And in truth, it is likewise my hope that this ban might be reconsidered, might be given further contemplation. As for Dr. Seuss himself, he remains a literary legend, to be ranked with the likes of Mark Twain, Kurt Vonnegut, Andrea Norton, Ursula K. Le Guin, even with Rod Serling, inasmuch as he, just like any one of these highly visionary writers, utilized his talents and his creativity to portray, even if in colorful and alliterative abstract, an entire host of ideas and values which are as clear and plain as day. Ultimately, when it comes to banning books, there aren't really any winners. In this case, for instance, Dr. Seuss doesn't win, the children most assuredly do not win, and even those who are so hell-bent on banning some of his books do not really win. Nothing more than a hollow sort of victory this time around anyway. In fact, when it comes to banning books, there is really only one guaranteed winner. And that, unfortunately, regrettably, disgustingly, is the collectibles merchants. You see, when any item, when any article, when any commodity is blacklisted, becomes taboo, is labeled, as it were, contraband, when the circulation and the availability of said item is diminished, making said item a rarity, then the dollar amount, price tag worth of said item skyrockets. If you'll pardon the expression, you can make book on the fact that those 6 banned Dr. Seuss books, those are going to be the hottest item since the Turner Diaries.